Hey, I'm Rebecca Barrett, and I'm inspirational.
So again, this is the Human Project, and it's basically just investigating labels and the effects they have on people. So first question is, what label, if any, do you feel like has been placed upon you by either the world or society or even yourself, and what effects has that had on you?
I feel like I've just had inspirational, and people set this goal that they're like, because you're inspirational, that you're going to succeed because you are disabled and you're going with life. And it's like, that's not quite why. Like, you're inspirational because you're doing something that's unbelievable, but if you're doing something that everyone is doing in the norm, that just everyone's doing or whatever, it's not inspirational. Like, if you're throwing a ball and you say one person has one arm, like, you're still throwing the ball, like, it's fine. But if you're, say, running a marathon, but it's because you have your leg hacked off because of a bomb, or you're not born with it or something, it's a different meaning because you're getting back out there and you're forcing yourself to do it. And I've always been like this, and so it's not like I'm pushing past that emotional barrier of, oh, I once had my legs, but I've always had my legs. They're really crappy legs, but that's just what I was born with.
So do you care to talk a little bit about exactly what it is that you have that causes you to be disabled?
I have osteogenesis imperfecta. Osteo means bone, genesis means from the beginning, and imperfecta means imperfect. And so I was bad bones from the very beginning, so it's a genetic disorder. And so supposedly it's doesn't run in my family, so I'm an X-Man. And so anyway, I've just always kind of been the lone wanderer, and so everyone doesn't see me as like a normal person. They see me as like, oh, she's the handicapped girl or whatever, and that's not who I am. I'm Rebecca. I'm funny, and I make terrible jokes.
So you've always had this, correct? This genetic. So do you remember the first time you were ever called inspirational? And then can you tell us, can you just describe how that made you feel?
To be honest, I can't think of the first time I was called inspirational because it's just been throughout my life. But I think when it really started to get irritating to me was when I was probably a freshman or 8th grade. I don't remember when it was, but somewhere in there. So about 10 years ago. I was going to be in the study for weight loss because I used to be very overweight. I need to get back on the horse. But anyway, I had this Indian doctor, and she was always like, oh, Rebecca, you're very inspirational. And I'm just kind of like, really? Are you sure I'm inspirational? Like, I'm just losing weight. I'm eating what I'm supposed to eat. I don't think that's inspirational. Maybe if I had, like, a chocolate addiction, so everything had to have chocolate, and I was, like, pushing past that. Like, okay, that's inspirational. Like, you're not letting your love for chocolate of the chemicals in your brain being like, I need this drug. But, it's just, it didn't seem inspirational to me because I was trying to better myself. Like, if, shoot, I can't think of a good example. But anyway, you just wouldn't call someone inspirational because they're eating right. That just doesn't make sense.
Do you think it bothers you because they're only saying you're inspirational because you're disabled, so they're assuming that anything you do is immediately inspirational?
Exactly.
So then, to you, you're not. It's not that they necessarily wouldn't say you were inspirational if you weren't disabled. They wouldn't say that.
Oh yeah, no, for sure they wouldn't say that. Like, you being the average college student, you're just going to college. You don't have random people going up to you and being like, you're so inspirational for going to college. Like, the normal college student doesn't have that. And because I'm in a wheelchair, they're just like, oh, you're inspirational. It's like, I don't think so. Like, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
So a term that's supposed to be uplifting is really, it's degrading to you.
It is. And it's just, I think people don't understand the true meaning of inspiration. It's to really push yourself because of a certain limit. But if the tools are there to be able to help you do something like class with a wheelchair. Like, that's not inspirational. Like, it makes you actually want to go up and do it, not just be like, that's meant inspirational for like 2 seconds and then you go on with your life. Like, inspiration is, when I was younger, I participated in this like kind of like off-brand Special Olympics. It was called Win Olympics. It was for kids that had physical disabilities, not just mental and physical, like with the Special Olympics. And anyway, for all the practice shoots, like, I would be fine, like the practice run stuff, like, I would make all the goals, I'd do everything, I'd be fine. And then when the real tournament came up for the event, I always had a broken arm or a broken leg or something. It was over the stupidest thing. I don't even remember because I've broken so many bones. But because of it, this guy, he ran a marathon in honor of me because he was like, if she can get gold medal with one broken arm, like, I can run a marathon. Like, it's fine. And so, like, he gave me a shirt whenever it was, like, the next year around, and so I have it up in my room. But
So was that a time where inspirational wasn't degrading for you? It actually meant something for you?
I feel like because I was pushing past my limit, and it was because I was physically, like, disabled. Like, I could not go, like, and shoot like a normal person. But to be honest, I've never been shot things like a normal person or whatever. Like, I've always done things one-handed. Like, a normal person would go bowling and they do an underhand throw. I do overhand and shot put a 21-pound ball. Like an average person would do, like an 8-pound or a 12-pound.
Yeah.
Like at the most. And I'm just like, no.
Like, no, I gotta do that 21-pound ball.
Exactly. And people be like, why did you do a 21-pound ball? Don't you know your bones? And I'm like, yeah, but I had better control with it because it's heavier. And then, because like the friction of your fingers when you would let go of the ball, you'd have that spin on it. And so if it was heavier, it was easier to control that spin.
So do you feel maybe the reason they keep saying you're inspirational is to make themselves comfortable around you?
I think they do, because I feel like sometimes because I am a minority, there's not a lot of people with wheelchairs on campus or anywhere for that fact. They're trying to relate to me and comfort me and being like, oh, it's okay that you're handicapped, like, let's be friends. It's like,
but they're immediately assuming that you're not happy. They're immediately assuming that you have a terrible life.
Yeah, they automatically assume I have a terrible life. I'm like super depressed or something. It's like, no. Like, honestly, like, I guess you could see that, like, I had my depressive face, but it was much, much, much earlier than, like, a normal person would assume. Like, say middle school or something. I feel like most people are, like, super depressed when they're in middle school. I was, like, age 3 because I was constantly told, like, oh, she might not make it to age 5, or, like, she's gonna die because of pneumonia. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. And so I was having a midlife crisis when I was 3. Like, and so, like, I'm the realist with people when they're like life and death things, because they're like, oh my gosh, you're gonna die one day. And I'm like, but you gotta pick up this game. I'm like, you're gonna die. I was like, you need to get over it, live your life. I'm like, it's fine.
That's so funny. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to ask you. So, in terms of like inspirational, how does it make you feel now? Like, I mean, now, like, do you still feel angry about it now, or?
I don't think I'm angry about it. I think I'm just annoyed at it because I don't think people really understand the true meaning of inspiration, and that's just to really push off from their own life and be like, hey, if that person can do this, then I can do it, and they actually do it, which is the prime example of the guy running the marathon. I feel like that's the best. But I feel like what the normal intake of, like, inspiration is, like, they're like, oh my gosh, that's so great. And then they go back to sitting on the couch, like, eating chips, not doing anything with their life.
So they kind of, like, use you as, like, a scapegoat to make themselves feel better, do you think? Do you think any of these people actually ever get to know you for you, or do they just call you inspirational to make themselves feel better, and then they go on about their day and they're just like...
Yeah. No, I think that's how it is. They're automatically assume that I'm inspirational, but they don't want to get to know me. And they're just like, she's gone to college or whatever, and they're like, she's the best. And it's like, do you know why I'm going to college? Like, I just want to make art. I want to make funny things. And it's not, they don't want to know me. Like, I know a lot of people when they first see me, they think I'm very shy or whatever, and then like within 2 seconds of having a real conversation with me, I will make you laugh. Like, and that's just part of who I am.
I mean, I can say that, like, I've experienced that, like, I've never laughed so much as I'm hanging out with you, and I mean, I feel like I'm just now getting to know you because I haven't really had the chance to get to hang out with you, but I'm kind of glad that I'm doing this because I get to have an insight on that, and I, you know, I can say that I have said, I mean, I have felt sorry for someone who's disabled, and that's wrong of me. I shouldn't have felt like that, but I honestly never felt, I never knew that anybody felt that way, and that, you know.
And I'm honestly like, and I'm not saying like able-bodied people all do that all the same. Like, I do it. Like, if I go to like, on campus, there's another person in a wheelchair, like, I automatically assume that they're in a terrible state of mind, so I'm like, oh, they're disabled. And I have to really take a step back, and it's like, I'm disabled. I forget that I'm disabled sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just in this chair, because, like, when I was little, I'd be like, oh, no, I'm fine. It's just, like, my legs don't work. I was like, let's go play baseball or something. Like, and I'd play baseball with the neighbor kids. But, I mean, honestly, like, I completely understand where people are coming from. Like, people in wheelchairs or crutches or whatever, iron lung, I don't know, whatever they're in, like, they still want to be treated like a human and have a real conversation. But some people are just not ready for that conversation, because sometimes you'll try and be like, oh, and get to know them, and they'll get snippy because sometimes they're like, I don't want to talk to you about this, like, this is very personal. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry.
And I've noticed that you're not that way. Like, you're open to discussing anything about yourself, and I think that's awesome. Like, I enjoy that, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate how honest and funny you are.
Thank you.
So, like, I have another question.
Yeah, you're good.
With the label of inspirational, like, do you think other people feel the same way you do that are disabled? Or or have you ever experienced that, or has anybody ever talked to you about it?
I feel like everyone that has come to terms with being disabled will have probably a very similar reaction. Like, I hate the word inspirational. Just like, I don't think they're like really seeing why I'm inspirational. And because I've talked to a couple friends that have the same thing I do, or just wheelchairs in general, and we all can just kind of agree on it and be like, this is ridiculous. Like, they're not treating us like humans. Like, they're just like, oh, you're going to college because you have the money. And it's like, no, I'm having to take out loans, and I'm having to do this or that. Or sometimes you have like the support from the government with disability stuff or whatever. I don't know what it's called. But that's just kind of how we all are. I feel like if you've accepted it, you're one with it or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, I got this. Like, move out of the way of the world. Like, I'm going to do what I want. And then people are like, yeah, because you're inspirational. It's like, no! It's because I want to. I'm not trying to inspire you. It's like, I want to get stuff done. Or it's like with a puppy that has, like, no leg or something, and they have those, like, little wheelchairs. They're not thinking about, oh, no, like, my leg's gone. They're like, I gotta get that ball that just went by. Like, I have to. Like, that's gonna be fun. And that's how I kind of see myself as, like, getting my art degree. It's like, oh, I love art. Like, I have to go make things now.
So would you also say that the reason the word inspirational bothers you is because people are assuming that without them telling you that you can't live, that you can't move on with your life, that you're not able to live a fulfilled life without someone telling you you're inspirational?
Right.
Like, they feel as if they need to feel sorry for you to move on, which is kind of insulting in a way, because it's like, you know, you're your own source of happiness no matter what is wrong with you, like no matter what happened to you.
Like, it's kind of like degrading like who you are as a person. They're like, you're only doing this to really show that you can do it. It's like, no, I'm doing it to do it. I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it to be like, look what I can do. Like, that's just kind of how I see it, like how inspiration is. So.
Okay. So, what do you think is the biggest reason for most conflict?
Just lack of communication, to be honest. That I feel like once you talk to someone, you understand their story, you understand where they're coming from. You're like, oh crap, like they're just like me. And so then you can have just a really well-rounded conversation, and just you can really have a good life because you're not doing like labels like, oh, they're black, straight, gay, whatever it is. So you're not putting a label on something, you're reading them as who they are because they're telling you how they are.
And like we discussed in class, you know, I understand that some labels, in a way, like if you use it the right way, it has an effect. So for instance, if someone were to talk about you, I personally wouldn't want to read about Rebecca, the disabled artist. I want to read Rebecca, the artist, and then when I read about who you are and the influences of your work, talk about your disability, because it probably has some influence on your work. Like your BFA project, you were talking about doing stuff with the skeletal system because it's really personal to you. So in that context, when you're talking about your work, I think it would be appropriate to use the label that you're disabled because it's what inspired your work.
Exactly.
But you as a person, you don't want to be known as, I'm Rebecca the disabled girl, just like I don't want to be known as James the gay guy, kind of thing.
Exactly. And it's all how you look at it and how it's used. And it's like you were saying, you wouldn't say that, oh, you're the gay guy or whatever, and I wouldn't say I'm the disabled artist or anything. Like, I would say I'm Rebecca and I am here to make you laugh with my art or something. Like, that's just who I am. I'm not going to sit there and be like, I'm disabled, give pity on me and your money. Like, that's just not who I am, and I feel like that's a large majority of people with disabilities. Like, they're not doing that out of pity to be like, please help me. They're like, no, I want you to pay me because you think I'm good, not because I'm in a chair. So
do you sometimes, like, does that kind of ever make you feel a little bit lonely when people treat you that way? Because they're not letting you fit in and they're not letting you be treated the same as everyone else?
It's a little isolating because you're not getting the same respect. Like, just say a normal person, like, if there's someone that's like 20 feet behind you at the door and you open the door and you think that they're closer or whatever, like, most people would just go ahead and walk on by. But if you're in a wheelchair and you're back the 20 feet or whatever, they're like, oh my gosh, I gotta get that door. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. Like, you wouldn't do that for a normal person. Like, maybe if you're just an extra nice person and you're like, no, I gotta get this door for someone even though they're 50 feet back. But, like, personally, like, don't get the door for them. Like, they're strong and independent, and that's why they're here. So you let them get whatever they want. If they want to open the door, you let them.
So you're essentially just saying that you just want to be treated the same, even if someone's mean to you. You know, don't take pity on, like for instance, if someone is mean to somebody else and they come to you and they decide to be nice to you because you're disabled, it's like no, like if you're being mean to someone and that's just your outlook, don't change your outlook because of my disability.
Oh yeah.
You know, or same with someone being nice, like, you know, someone being extra nice to you, or even being extra mean to you because you're disabled. It's just like, treat me the same as you would treat another human being.
Exactly. Kind of like, see them as the person, not as the label that is kind of put on them. So, just be you and treat them however you want to treat them, but in the normal way you treat other people.
So do you feel like you're getting that from people now, or do you feel like people are still treating you the same as they were before?
I feel like after people get to know me, they're like, oh, okay, like, it's just a normal conversation.
Yeah.
But if someone that hasn't just met me or whatever, they think I'm just very closed, and it's because I'm quiet and I don't want to startle them and be like, hey, I'm disabled. Like, I let people approach me because I don't want to come off as that strong vibe of being like, I'm handicapped, be my friend. Like, I'm going to let you come at your own pace because I don't want to make it weird.
Yeah.
And so I be by myself, but it's only because I don't want to make things weird.
So, have you only, is it everyone that calls you inspirational, or is it just doctors, or does your family do it to you too, or?
Well, my family does do it to me too, but they mean well, and I know what they mean. Like, it's my 91-year-old grandma. Like, she's the one that calls me inspirational, and she's like, no, but you really are. And I'm like, but I'm not broken right now. Like, I don't have a broken arm or leg or anything. Like, treat me the same way you treat your other grandchildren. Like, everything's fine, I promise. And it's just a little irritating. That's just like, even though, like, my grandma knows me inside and out, but it's just like, you don't understand. Like, I'm inspirational because of what I've accomplished, not because of, like, I'm going to go.
Do you think that treatment makes it hard for you to live a normal life?
A little bit, because people do tend to baby you if they feel like you're needing more assistance than you really do. And you're just like, no, like, stop. Like, if you wouldn't kidnap a random grandchildren's clothes or whatever to go wash them or whatever. But some people, they're like, no, I gotta have extra help. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, let me wash my own clothes. Let me take out the trash. Let me feed the dogs or whatever. It's just how you would normally treat a child or someone living at home as you give them choice to do it.
Because you don't want to be labeled as, like your disability already knocks at you. You don't need the world to do it too. You're
Exactly.
already living through this, so you've already been through enough in terms of that. So it's like I feel like people who identify something different, like for me, with me being gay, I've had a lot of treatment for that. Like I've gone through a lot in terms of that label, and kind of just like I was talking in class. When I was bullied severely as a kid for that, I don't want to be known as that anymore. I want to be known for me, not for my sexuality, because my sexuality doesn't have to be the forefront of every conversation, just like your disability doesn't have to be the forefront of every conversation.
Exactly. And like one thing is, I think that really helped me become a better person is that after a while, like I stopped putting labels for the most part. Like you know how sometimes you can look at people and be like, oh, they're straight or gay or whatever. Like I stopped putting that in my mind and labeling people and actually talked to them. And so I have one friend that was very, very comfortable with me. I never asked him about sexuality because it wasn't my business. And if he wanted to tell me, he could. And so it was like years after us being friends, and he finally came out, and he was like, well, do you still feel the same about me? I was like, yeah, I still want to go to the movies and hang out. And I was like, what's the difference? I was like, you're still going to be my friend, right? And he's like, well, yeah. And I was like, all right, then we're good.
But I mean, I totally get what you're saying with the fact that you're treated differently. I understand that. I feel the same way sometimes too, is, I don't want to be treated differently because of my sexuality. Like, just let me be a normal person, and then my personality or me as a person then determine how you're going to treat me based on my personality or me as a person, just not my sexuality.
Right, like if you're going to be an ass, like I'll treat you like an ass, but if you're not going to be an ass and you'll actually be a really nice person, like heck yeah, like let's go hang out, let's go to the movies or whatever.
So do you think that, there's a huge misconception in the way that people feel like someone who's disabled wants to be told they're inspirational?
I feel like there's a small percentage, but I feel like anyone that really has come to terms with being any kind of disabled, they don't want that extra treatment because they've already come this far and they don't need to be reminded of it constantly, like you're inspirational or whatever. It's like you're a strong person because you came out as gay or whatever. Like, no, I'm just being me. I'm not trying to be strong or anything. Like, I'm just being true to myself.
And I remember you saying this like a minute ago, where you were saying that you sometimes forget that you're disabled. So do you think that when they tell you you're inspirational, it's just a hit in the gut, like, oh my God, I'm still disabled? And that's why it bothers you, I guess, is because it's reminding you that you're disabled when you're just trying to live a normal life as if you weren't disabled.
Exactly. Like, I know I have some friends that think that it's a terrible thing that they've accidentally slipped up. But one of my best friends, she'll be like going upstairs or something, or she'll be like getting ready to go downstairs, and I'll just kind of look at her from whatever floor, and she'll be like, dang it, I forgot again, I'm sorry. And I'm like, no, you see me as a person, like you're not seeing me as your disabled friend, like we are equals. And so like if I was able-bodied, I'd be going right down those stairs, like no problem, you wouldn't think twice about it. Because that's how people are, like you don't overestimate and be like, oh, like we can't go to a straight bar because my gay friend can't go. Like, no, they can go to that. Like, they're just gonna be there and have fun. Like, even though there's stairs at an event, like I'm still gonna go because it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and you'll find a way to get up there.
There's always a way. So,
yeah.
Even if it's through like 5 buildings. Morehead State.
So, what would you say it means to be human? Like, if you could define what it means to be human, what would you say that is?
I feel like being human is just curious, because when you're a toddler, you constantly question, like, why is the sky blue? Why is the water blue? Like, you're constantly asking things, and there's nothing wrong with asking questions. It's when you kind of become inhuman when you stop asking because you're not curious anymore, or you don't want to offend. Toddlers don't care because they don't know what offending is. And it's only because of just human interaction, of just not wanting to ask to be offensive. Like, I would much rather people ask. Like, in high school, I had this lunch lady, and she saw me, like, move my legs, and she was like, you're not paralyzed anymore. And I just didn't have the heart to tell her, like, I'm not paralyzed. I just have bad bones. But, like, that was probably bad judge on me, and she just continued to think that I was paralyzed, even though I'm not.
Yeah.
But, like, and I completely understand that people don't want to accidentally offend someone, but ask questions. But there's a time and a place for things. And if the person's comfortable with telling you, they'll tell you, and if they're not, they won't. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Like the conversation we were having earlier, there was an appropriate time to discuss your disability. So whenever I first meet you, and I'm wanting to get to know you, I might ask the question just to get to know you better.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So.
But if we're just, talking about a class project and I'm going to be like, you're disabled, it has nothing to do
Why
with
are you
the class
doing this?
project. Like, it has nothing to do with that. So in terms of that, it's me treating you differently on purpose. And
it's just normal conversation. Like, I don't know, like if someone had a flannel jacket, I don't know, they'd be like, oh, that person's gay because they're wearing flannel. It's just like, no, maybe they just really like flannel. Like, maybe they are gay and they just want to wear it, but honestly, it's just a cute shirt. Like, but it's just, people just need to ask questions and don't feel like they need to stop trying to be offensive, because it's just curiosity. It's human nature. I feel like the other part of being human is just having the joy of living your life. Like, you're not, again, when you're a toddler, you're not sitting there being really negative. You're like, oh, I didn't get my cookie today. You're like, I got a cookie today. Like, I'm so excited. It's like, I love my life. I love my parents. Like, this is so much fun. Like, that's what being human is. You enjoy life. And I feel like I'm enjoying life because I make light of serious subjects of me being disabled, because I know people aren't comfortable with it sometimes. And like, I try to.
Do you think that helps people become more comfortable with it if you say the joke first so they don't have to?
Yeah, like I definitely open it up first because I don't want them to feel awkward about like if they accidentally misstep and be like, oh yeah, we gotta take the stair, or we gotta take the elevator. Like, I'll be like, stairs are my arch rival, but all I'll see my chair is arch rival. Like, I can hop up those stairs, give me 10 minutes.
Do you ever feel like people have ever tried to, I guess, make you feel bad for being disabled, or have you never run into that?
I don't. I think I've only like felt bad that I was disabled, and that's really in middle school, like a low point for everyone. Like, there was this 2 little girls, and they were like trying to block my way into going to like the trash can or the front of the board or something. I don't remember. And anyway, they were like, "Oh, you can't get through because you're in a wheelchair," and I was like, I don't want to hurt you. I was like, I could go through you. But I was like, it's kind of dumb. And so I just kind of sat there and looked at him. I like looked at the teacher and I was like, what do I do? And he was like, move aside, girls. I was like, all right, cool. Because I was like, if you want me to, I was like, I'll run over.
But you never felt that way by anybody else? It's normally just them feeling sorry for you is what's bothering you most?
Yeah, I've never really had someone be like, haha, you're disabled. Like, it was just like maybe a handful of times, but I wouldn't say it was like impactful of how I grew up and saw myself.
Whereas them feeling sorry for you, that's what's impacted you the most, and what's made you kind of get a little angry at people and just be like, I'm me. I'm not an inspiration. Exactly. Do you feel like it puts pressure on you in a way when they say you're inspirational?
I feel like it puts me on a pedestal where they're like, you can only do good because you're living your life. It's like, no, I can seriously like mess something up or whatever, but that's fun because that's human nature. But because, like, say if I had a broken arm or something and I was still throwing pots, then I would say that's inspirational. But if there's nothing physically wrong with me while I'm doing something, that's not inspirational. That's just me being a human. So
do you ever feel like, have you ever yourself kind of put, I guess, these standards for yourself because you feel like you have to live up to the idea of being inspirational? Oh yeah, no, especially like when I was younger, like way back in like high school, maybe early college, I was like, I really have to do good. I really have to be this great person everyone thinks I can be. But honestly, I'm just trying to be me. I'm not trying to be the next great artist. I'm just trying to make art and make a statement about who I am and like what I deal with. But it's not to be like, give pity on me. It's just to educate people about the disease, maybe. Exactly. And maybe, and I think that in itself is pretty inspirational, that you're wanting to educate about the disease so that maybe someday you can cure it. Exactly. And it's to bring awareness about it because people don't know about it. It's such a rare disorder. I don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head, but I think last time I checked it was like 1 in like 50,000 births. Of this just randomly being some kind of mutation, you just get it. But it's becoming more popular because people are just having a bunch of kids. And so anyway, it's like,
I don't want people to see me as being disabled. I want them to see me as me and to educate the world through my eyes, through my humor.
I think the fact that you're doing that, like ignoring that you're disabled, I think the fact that you wanting to educate people and you having a passion for that, that itself is inspirational as a person, because you're wanting to help other people. Like, you're wanting to do something that's bigger than yourself. Mm-hmm. The fact that you're getting out of bed isn't inspirational. You're a human being. You're going to do that. I'm glad I got out of bed. But what your goal of what you're wanting to do in life, I think if people said that was inspirational, I think it would have a different context. Yeah. Because you're trying to tackle something that no one knows about. Mm-hmm. You're trying to raise awareness that no one seems to care about.
Exactly, and I'm doing it through a different way than like most people would see, because some people write articles and stuff and being like, this
you're
is
building
why I'm not.
Physical things
Exactly.
that, I mean, in itself, you said that you have brittle bones, so I can imagine you sometimes might have some difficulty making this stuff.
Sometimes, like, say if something's heavy, I do have difficulty, then I'll ask for help or whatever.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like, I do everything myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I make the clay, or don't make it, but because it's on a step. But anyway, like, I'll do everything that I possibly can that's in my ability to completely make it. But and then, like, with loading or something, like, someone else will pick it up.
But I think making that project is unique itself, because it's kind of showing people exactly what this disease looks like.
Exactly, and the way I've always seen it is that I know, especially back when I was younger, my mom was a little upset because there'd be all these kids that were just like, say, 10 years younger than I am. And she'd be like, oh my gosh, it's so great, they're up and walking and they're running and they have the same type you do. And she was like, I can't believe that you weren't able to do that. And I was like, no, Mom, like, I am completely fine with where I am. And she was like, what do you mean? Like, why are you fine with that? I was like, someone had to be that bridge. Someone had to be that plank of wood to help the doctors get from point A to point B. And I'm happy I am a plank. Like, I never understood that when I was younger. Because I was like, I want to walk. That's not fair.
Do you think doing research has helped you come to terms with it and helped you understand it more?
I feel like going to the conferences and talking to other people that have it from wide ranges of ages and the severity of the disability, because I'm on the more the moderate side, because I don't remember all the different types because there's a million types now. But like type 1 is super duper low. You don't even, sometimes you can't even tell you have it because it's so small. And then there's like type 2, which is really kind of ironic. It's death practically, because most of the infants don't live past age like 3 or 4 months. Like, it's just so severe. Like, say if you accidentally landed your hand on their arm or something, like, it would snap it like a twig. Like, super easy. It's ridiculous. But like with mine, like, say I would cough or sneeze or something and I'd break a rib, but it wouldn't be like a serious breakage where it would snap the rib completely in half. It would just be a minor break, or it would really hurt for a couple days to breathe or cough or anything, but I'd be fine. And so, but as you get older, it gets better.
So, if you could give a message to people with your disease, what would you say to them?
Live your life and be OI unstoppable, because that's like kind of our thing is unstoppable. I have a shirt of it. I should have worn it, but it's just how our personality is. It's just that we don't care that we're broken. Like, I'm gonna go get that toy because I want that toy, and I'm not gonna sit here and mope because I can't use it completely or whatever. Like, I'm gonna play with it how I want to play with it. And that's how I see life, is that we're always just living our lives. We're not trying to make a statement about how you should try and better your life because like mine's terrible, because it's not. It's just, it's...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you live a really happy life.
Yeah, and I do. I have great family. I have great friends. I love to pick on my friends and family. I always tell people they're my babies, because they are my babies. I constantly tell people how much I love them, because I do, and I feel like people don't say
genuine.
that enough. Yeah. I do, even if it's completely platonic. I'm like, hey man, I love you because you're great, you're funny, like, I love having conversations with you. And it's so funny though, because like my little cousin, I'll be like, he's my first baby, and his face would get like super red. But it's because it's the truth. Like, I love him. He's like the little brother I never had. And I just like to constantly instill that into people and just be like, you be you. I love you for you, and you're not trying to be a fake person. And I'm so happy I have you in my life. But
So what do you hope people watching this video get out of this, or if you have a message for them watching this video, what would you say?
Honestly, I think the best message I can give anyone is have a conversation. Don't sit there and assume. Don't just sit there and put a label on someone. Have that talk. Have a good talk. Go out for coffee. And don't have coffee because they're in a wheelchair. Don't make that a thing. Go because you see them at the movies together or something, or you see them out studying. Ask them if you want to study with them. Like, don't go out of your way to do something just to make them happy. Do it because you both want to do it, and not because you're wanting to treat someone special. Just be open, and I'd say just to not quite be as careful because then it just gets weird, but just talk to them like you normally would. So be like, I don't know, like say if you are gay or something, be like, oh man, like that's a cute guy or something. Like, I don't know, like maybe it is a cute guy, maybe they hate guys, I don't know, or maybe they're a girl, I don't know. But like I think that's more of an appropriate way of starting up the conversation, not being like, are you gay? Like,
yeah,
it's just much better. Like, I find this person attractive. Like, oh cool, like did you see like that actor that has that disability? I'd be like, oh yeah, like they're pretty cool. Or like I chime in and be like, do you know this one? Because they also have my disorder. Like, they're really funny. But that's just how I see it, is don't assume. Always talk to one another. Find out, Google it if you can. If you don't know what it is, just try and ask someone that does. But always talk to one another. Don't just sit there and be like, I think they're going to get mad they asked them that they were in a wheelchair. Like, just talk. That's all I'm asking.
So is there anything else you want to add, or you want to touch on or talk about?
Kind of, sort of. Just, even though I know I briefly said it before, but just to tell people how much you love them. Just really tell them how much you care about them, because you don't know what's going on in their life. And even though, like, say I don't have anything right now or whatever that I'm super worried about, but like, I think people just really need to tell everyone how much they care about them. I'm not saying like you need to go out and get a bouquet of flowers and be like, I love you with all the burning sun.
Just be respectful.
Yeah, just be respectful and just say what you mean. Like, just say it to the best of your ability of who you are as a person and what you want them to know, because sometimes things are just too late. So.
No, I really like, I like what you said, and I identify with some things you said too about being treated differently. You want to be treated the same. Mm-hmm. And you know, I'm going to say that you're inspirational, but I'm going to say it in a different way. I think that the reason I find you inspirational is the fact that despite what society is telling you that you have to be, or what society is telling you that you need to be, or in light of your disability and what it has standards for you, you don't care. I like the fact that you're just being yourself, despite of everything. Even if you weren't disabled, I would find you inspirational, because your personality itself is just, you are yourself unapologetically, and I love that about you, I hope that other people can learn to do that. Just be yourself unapologetically, and don't be afraid to be yourself.
Exactly. And like, I know that I sometimes, like, an example of me accidentally like not knowing how to talk to someone in a wheelchair, I was just kind of nervous. I was telling her about like what I have or whatever. And I was like, so do you have like a form of dwarfism or something? And she just got very angry, and she was like, no, I have this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I'm so sorry. But that was just her, and that's fine. Like, that's fine. She had that reaction. That's fine. She didn't want to be friends or anything, and I'm not upset. Like, I would like to know why, but like, that's fine. Like, I just want to treat everyone the same way that I treat everyone else. I don't know if it was because like I came off as like, I must be your friend because we're both handicapped. Like, no, I want to be your friend because you seem like a cool person. But I make friends because I think they're cool people, and I want them to know that they're loved, and that I like to hang out with them and do fun stuff.
But yeah, like I was saying, you know, I just noticed a lot of people just are really closed off, or not really energetic, they're not really friendly. You're a very bubbly person, and very, like, your laughter is super contagious, and
Thanks.
if it like if I'm having a bad day and I come to Art Crit, I'm like, oh my god, I get to back and shoot me, laugh 1,000 times and I forget why I'm mad. Like, I was stressed out when I came into class today, and now I'm not stressed out anymore. I think that just listening to what you had to say made me laugh, and you get really great points, and then our photo shoot was so much fun.
Right.
So I think that the reason I find you inspirational is not because you're disabled, and not because you're moving past your disability, but just because you're being yourself when everybody expects you to be something else.
Exactly. And I just like to have fun with people. I just like to have a good time and like not make it weird. And just be me. Like, I'm not trying to be anything else other than myself. Like, I like to freak people out with my leg. Like, you never know.
Didn't you say that you used your foot as a costume one year?
Yeah, I dressed my leg up like a baby. And I was a really, really bad interpretation of Britney Spears for 2007 when she shaved her
Oh my
head.
gosh.
I put on like a weird bob cap. It wasn't a bob cap. It was like a mesh net thing for like a real wig or something. But anyway, it was the best I had. And so I dressed up my foot like a baby, and I was like, "Why won't you shut up?" And my friends were like, "Too real! Stop!"
Oh my god.
Or like, it was like tropical day or something in school, and so I put on like the just brightest, ugliest clothes I had. Mixed match shoes, like bright socks, and I had on blind glasses and a walking stick. And people were like, "What are you wearing? I don't get it." And I was like, "I'm Helen Keller on vacation." And I was like, just
my
being
gosh.
like, it was my interpretation of it, but I wasn't trying to be offensive to her. I was just trying to be funny in general and being like, hey, she had a disability, but it's not what she was known for. She was known for actually being very brilliant, I think.
Yeah, I mean, she actually wasn't being very intelligent.
Mm-hmm. And it was just making light of a serious situation, but having a different spin on it. So.
No, I get that. No, but I really appreciate your input and everything, and I think that when people watch this, I hope that they, maybe will look at someone who's disabled a little differently and not have to feel sorry for them, and maybe, just get to know them for knowing them, not because of their disability, and, just knowing that that doesn't have to hinder you. Like, you can be as the same as I am.
Exactly. It's because we are, and we're both crazy human beings that just like to have fun and make people laugh.
Starts off with us realizing that we're humans first, and then that can move us past our differences.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's who I am.